Later today, Secretary of Homeland Security Janet Napolitano will travel to Oklahoma. She'll meet with state and local officials and ensure that first responders are receiving the assistance they need with response and recovery efforts. And then take a look at these latest satellite images from NASA and NOAA. They show us the storm system that produced Monday's massive tornado in Oklahoma. And you can see right before your eyes that storm developing as it gets bigger and bigger, and beneath the cloud cover, that EF5 tornado was forming. We have a better idea of the path the tornado took as well. It hit two elementary schools, first Briarwood Elementary, and then about a mile away, the Plaza Towers Elementary School. It then hit a packed movie theater and a medical center. Right now, we're going to go back live to Moore, Oklahoma with Sally Hernandez, who is seeing some of that destruction firsthand. And now, Sally, the first hints of daylight this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Brian. That's right. The first hint of daylight, as you mentioned, that death toll still standing at 24, more than 200 injured, and we're talking about 2,400 homes damaged or completely destroyed. And when I say destroyed, I mean I'm walking around and seeing nothing but concrete slabs that is left of those homes. Buildings, that is not to mention the buildings that have been demolished here as well, like the medical center that you see right behind me here in Moore, Oklahoma. We were talking to a man who passed by and didn't want to be on camera, understandably still a little shaken about what happened to him, and he says he lives a few blocks away from here, came over here to the medical center to shelter in the storm because he said, I knew my house was not going to hold up. So he came over here. They put everybody into the cafeteria at the medical center, and he said you could just hear the winds whipping and cars slamming into trees. And the cars, some of them at least still in the parking lot right there with X's on them. That's to let you know that rescue crews checked and double checked to make sure that people were not trapped in that. That man that we talked about, he survived and said that he was lucky that nothing happened to him, and nothing happened to the people inside this medical center is a miracle, the staff would tell you, when you see the absolute destruction behind me of what is left standing from that building. When we got here in Moore, Oklahoma, I saw people who were walking around just carrying their luggage in their hand. They had boxes of water, of clothing, whatever they could salvage from their homes or what's left of their homes. One woman in particular, Angie, was able to talk to us about what she saw over at the 7-Eleven down the road. Listen.
So we thought it was going to hit our house, so we drove right behind the tornado, a safe distance, and just seeing absolute destruction. And when we got to 4th and Telephone, where the 7-Eleven used to be.
And this is a 7-Eleven where a mother and her baby,
the 3-month-old,
went inside for some help, for shelter.
Yes. And it's also attached to a liquor store. So there were employees from the 7-Eleven and the liquor store, and then people that had come to seek shelter. So when we pulled up to 4th and Telephone, my son shouted for me to pull over because he's seen rubble with a body moving, and he jumped out and started moving people and
rescuing people.
Yes.
16-year-old son, a hero, one of the many heroes of the stories that we've been hearing here from Moore, Oklahoma. She mentioned that 7-Eleven and the woman who went inside to shelter her and her baby from that storm. Unfortunately, they are among the dead. The death toll still standing at 24 this morning. As we begin to see the sunrise here in Moore, Oklahoma, Brian, you could see that there are debris. There's debris everywhere. There are cars with X's, and just a few blocks away from this medical center, it's even worse. There are cars on top of cars. This road over here to my right, this is where the neighborhoods are. The homes right there are the ones that are standing. But you don't know where the neighborhood starts, and you don't even know where it begins, because there are some homes that are completely gone. This is Telephone Road, and you'll see police officers who are going up and down this road right here, making sure that nobody gets across where they're not supposed to be, making sure that nobody is looting as well. And from what we hear, there are no reports, but of course that's always a concern. Telephone Road right here, you see the power lines, the telephone lines that are almost touching the ground. You can see the debris that's still stuck on those power lines. Power, a lot of people are without it this morning, including one of the men who came by talking to us and said, you know, I don't have power, I don't have a home, I set up a tent in my front yard. So that's what they're dealing with today. But he did say they are getting the help that they need. And that is, of course, something that Sophia Bosile is talking about for us today up in Georgetown, the continuing effort to help these people here and more. Hi.
You take a look at this plane right behind me, Sally. It's going to leave here about an hour to head to Moore, Oklahoma, where you are at right now. And it's going to take the Austin Disaster Relief Network. Some people, including the Round Rock Police Chief, some Austin firefighters, and just those who are volunteering, are going to be on here to survey the area to see how many people they need to bring here locally to Oklahoma. So yesterday we caught up with the Austin Disaster Relief Network. They actually left from Celebration Church in Georgetown to assess the area. So there's two assessments, one that's on the ground right now and then one that will be in the air. So this network is basically made up of 100 churches, and when it comes to here in Austin, there are about 600 volunteers who are trained to help in these kinds of situations, especially when it comes to emotional support and trauma relief. And I think today, actually, they're going to have 75 to 100 volunteers that are going to leave the ground from Celebration Church. Now, this morning I have Renee Bengelsdorf. She's actually the owner of Charlie Bravo Aviation and on the board of Skyhope Network. You went to Haiti. You've seen destruction like this. I mean, describe to us, what is it like?
Well, we had about 900 aircraft, volunteer aircraft, that flew into Haiti. I wasn't there. I didn't see that firsthand because I wanted to leave room on the aircraft for those medical personnel that were critical on the ground there in Haiti. This one I'll be able to see, and I can only imagine the devastation. I know Sally's there now looking at it, and it is just dumbfounding.
Yeah, I mean, you were kind enough to donate the fuel so that these people can go and survey the area. How important is this to you to give back to our neighbors right above us in Oklahoma?
You know, that's really what America's about, and it's what our general aviation industry is about, is helping out others. We can get there quickly. It's an efficient way to get there and a great way to survey the damage from the air.
All right, well, Renee, thank you so much for being here with us. We appreciate it. And the Austin Disaster Relief Network is actually looking to raise about $50,000. They want to buy gift cards for all the people who are without a home so they can buy the essential needs that they need. And also, our Chris Sadeghi is going to be going on this plane, so you'll want to look for his reports later on today. Brian?